After a few weeks of venturing around Australia, we were on the final leg of our trip. In this video, my family and I will be exploring Kangaroo Island. First, we flew to Adelaide where we spent a day exploring this beautiful town and then hopped onto a bus that took us all the way to the harbor where we got on a boat and cruised off to Kangaroo Island. Upon arrival, it was easy to tell that this wasn't quite the same as the places we'd visited before. This island felt much more isolated, with only very small towns in between large patches of nature. Houses couldn't be seen on the road for miles, and all that surrounded us was the beautiful greenery and deep blue sea. One of the first things we did was go on a little bit of a hiking trail. It was stunning, and we got to see nature like none other. On our walk, we did see something that was quite disheartening, though. Kangaroo Island was subject to some of the Australian wildfires, which burnt many trees to a crisp. Much of this habitat was lost and destroyed in the fires, and we can still see remnants of this by seeing the burnt wood and ash. However, over time, new growth has begun to sprout up. We can see a future for this place, and it is slowly beginning to heal from its past. You might not think that a rock is quite that interesting, but it was absolutely fascinating. Over 500 million years ago, this crystallized granite rose to the surface where it could be exposed to wind, rain, and other elements. It's quite awe-inspiring to see something so great that over time has been chipped away at. Speaking of wind, it was incredibly windy that just was bitter and cold, but it was all worth it for these amazing sights. Though we definitely had to fight the wind a bit. After a windy hike at Remarkable Rock, we headed on over to Admiral's Arch, and here we saw some little friends that we weren't quite expecting, though they are known for being in this area. Here we saw New Zealand fur seals, and you may be thinking, New Zealand? This is Australia. But this wild creature does inhabit Australia as well. We saw these New Zealand fur seals across all age ranges, from babies sleeping aside the cliff, to adolescents playing in the pools where the waves washed ashore, or adults who were simply minding their own business, or the business of other seals. Well, yes, Admiral's Arch itself and seeing the structure of these stones was magnificent. I can't help but say that the seals definitely took the cake. It was just so interesting to watch them live their lives and how all of them held such different personalities, even from afar. I highly recommend you check out this spot, one, for the amazing views, and two, so you can watch the seals sleep and play. As we were finally leaving this place, we also got lucky enough that a beautiful rainbow came out. Personally, I believe this rainbow was just a great way to show about how much we enjoyed this trip. It was beautiful, and it was such a great time. After a busy day, going from bus to boat to bus again to explore all these different and magnificent sights, we finally were ready to head back to our hotel for the night. On our way back, we spotted all sorts of wildlife, from this bird to a koala my sister even spotted in a distant tree. It was such an amazing time, and I am so grateful that I was able to make these memories together with my family. What a day today is. Good morning. What the heck? After a silly little wake-up call, it was time to get ready for our next day. We headed to Seal Bay Conservation Park, where we viewed endangered Australian sea lions. This beach has been home to them for thousands upon thousands of years. This species faces many challenges, from being entangled in marine debris to being a part of fishery bycatch. Not to mention, they have an 18-month gestation period and can only get pregnant within 7 to 12 days after birthing. Otherwise, they miss their next breeding cycle. Additionally, due to sealing in the past, this species faces a lack of genetic diversity, which means they are more susceptible to disease. One ailment that harmed this colony was hookworm, but a treatment gel was developed and happened to be 100% effective. But who knows the next trials that this species will face. We happened to get especially lucky on our trip to Seal Bay, as one of the pups came right up to our group. This has to be one of the highlights of my whole trip in Australia with my family. This encounter put a smile on my face that couldn't disappear until our flight home. If you decide to visit Kangaroo Island, I personally believe that Seal Bay Conservation Park is an absolute must-see. There's so many sea lions just living their day-to-day life here, and it's a great chance to see wildlife. If you decide to go on a tour with the Seal Bay Conservation Park, you'll go down to the beach with a guide who will tell you all sorts of amazing facts about this species, and you'll get to watch them, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get lucky like us and have one of the seals come right up to you. After Seal Bay, we headed to a honey farm where we learned more about the honey specific to Kangaroo Island, and then we headed to Emu Ridge, which is a eucalyptus farm where we picked up some essential oils to help remedy our colds in the future. And that was it, the end of my 6-month-long journey around the world where I visited new continents, new countries, and met new people. I saw things that I would never see back home, and I made a lifetime worth of memories. I am so grateful that I was able to go on this journey, but I know that it isn't the end. Though I'm stationed in one spot for now, I have many plans and aspirations for the future, and I know this isn't the end of my YouTube career either. I'm going to share some of my experiences and talk about how I made this travel lifestyle possible for me for the 6 months that I did it. Please remember to like and subscribe. This isn't the end for me, and I will keep on making videos about my adventures, and I'll come up with some new trips in the future where I share more eco-travel content from all around the world. Thank you so much for following me up until this point, and I can't wait to see where this path leads me next.